tickets workflow and a new streamlined lead flow creation. So the first thing I want to do is really have a sneak peek at the new workflow, and then I'm going to dial right into the actual training itself. But unlike most of my webinar trains where I usually go through the training and then model some of it, I actually, and we've got quite a few people on here, I want to take a second and just kind of show you what this is going to look like in two little parts of it, in-service autopilot, and then we'll literally start from the beginning and work through that workflow. But first thing I want to look at here is if I'm on my V3 screen. Now, everything I'm showing you is going to work in V2, but basically when you create a ticket, it does shift over to that user interface of V3, as most people are well aware of. But the main thing is when you're in V3 and you're starting to adopt to that, and it's totally up to you, you don't have to, but this process can be used in V2 as well, is traditionally when you're going in V3, we're going in and adding account. There's no differentiation between leads and clients on this point. They're trying to streamline that workflow. So if you go in and add an account, what it does is it defaults here to the top here. Let me just grab my little highlighter thing here if I can. So it goes in and goes to a client. Now, what I'm going to recommend is you do not, I'm going to repeat, do not be tempted to add the client in, because it would seem that the workflow here is significantly easier and more streamlined. I'm going to recommend you go to the lead. So at first glance, you're going to be looking at this and like, well, how does this really help me? Because there's only three things I can potentially put on there. Now, the thing you only have to put on there is the first name. Where I'm going to suggest that you really should be doing this is enter the lead in, because when you go through the workflow service autopilot, we want to be able to take that lead and convert that lead into a client for reporting and seeing how many leads versus clients you have in there. And then if you're using a product like 20 Days to Close, how many open leads do you have in the system that could convert into a client, and how many closed leads do you have that are past the point of, say, 20 days or 30 days, and they're probably not going to convert, but then we put them into a long-term nurture and then continue to upsell them other processes. So hopefully that makes sense. I do not recommend creating a client. And a lot of people that we're working with as a certified advisor are filling this in because it's all in one area. So this is the one thing that I'm going to show you that we are going to be giving away here at the end. But what I'm going to recommend is just type in your name of the client or the lead. So if someone calls in, hey, it's Callahan's Lawn Care, how can I help you? Oh, perfect. Are you a current client, or have you called us before, or no? And then basically you would go in and Mike here, or we'll just use it Dave so it's not confusing. Dave is my new lead. Okay, Dave, yeah, no problem. Let me hit save here. And then what's going to happen here is that V3 screen loads in, but you obviously have an apparent issue here. So you've got Dave here, and the first inclination would be go to the edit screen. What I'm going to recommend is at the end of this webinar, I'm going to give you a free download code from the marketplace to actually have this form. But what you're going to be doing here is, and I'm going to recommend using a naming convention here that would basically put this phone intake at the top. So like 000 dot SimpleGrowth phone intake version 1. But what happens here is we go in and we take that information. Now, everything that you collected when Dave called is there, and all you did really grab is his first name. So what we're going to do is put Dave's last name in here. Type in his service address, city, state, contact email. So this is going to standardize your phone intake in V3 for your office or your virtual assistant to make sure everything you get all on the same page. Now, when you go in and hit edit and V3, if you don't go to a form like this, you have to physically type in the service address in addition. It does not automatically transfer over. So what we've done is literally said, click this same billing address, and I'll show you what happens here. Then we're going to go in and we're going to grab their cell phone. How did you hear about us? So this is our lead source tracking. So Dave heard about us from a door hanger. So now we're grabbing all the information we need for service autopilot reports to get us our lead acquisition cost. So how many people came from the door hanger, how many people converted into a client, and then it would track the cost of the door hanger, and then you would have an average client acquisition cost and eventually a lifetime value. So what we're doing here is expediting this workflow and eliminating the extra clicks and streamlining it for your office. Now, the people we've beta tested this with have loved this, and they're early adopting V3 because we're working everything we need on one screen. Now, if there's information for an estimate 4, special instructions, or office notes, these office notes are linked right back to the office notes. Instead of having to hit edit or add notes, everything is done on one screen. Now, you're probably looking at it here and saying, well, Mike, click here to add an on-site estimate, to do, or now ticket. What's that all about? Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute, and then we're going to dive into tickets and see how this all comes together. But spoiler alert, we're going to show you how to actually create to-dos or tickets now on-site when you do an on-site estimate, or any ticket basically that's assigned to a person with a due date, all off one screen. But for this example, this is just, we're literally entering the information in, and the billing address here is all populated already, so there's no double entry. If you go to the edit tab over here, you have to physically type in the service address again. So the SimpleGrowth lead intake form that I'm giving away to everybody on this call will expedite that process for you. And then we would go in and hit submit. So the way that I would probably not recommend doing is, just so you can see what happens, is when you go into lead and we put Mike Test in here and hit save, what you're going to have to do, if you're not using that free form I'm going to give you, got to go to edit, and you've got to go in and fill in last name, all that information, but then you have to go in and enter all your service information again, and it's not tracking, lead source tracking amongst the other office notes and things. So what we've done is consolidated your whole intake off the phone to one simple form and one page with no duplicate entry. So hang into the end of this one, and that is free of charge for anybody attending the webinar. So kind of wanted to sneak that one out there before we got into it. Now, next thing is, let's say we come into this, and instead of going into that form, we have another link that I showed you to create an on-site ticket or to-do, something that needed to be scheduled to a particular role or person with a deadline. So we can go out and fill out that form, and I'll have some more information on this later in the training. I'm about to jump into the training. But basically, this goes in and creates a ticket. And we have 3 different areas of the ticket because custom fields in V3 have a character limit of 515 characters. So we have 3 different areas that we've kind of merged on top of each other nicely. So you can go out and have about 1,700 characters in your ticket or to-do now for an on-site estimate or damage or whatever that is. So we're going to break down the 4 different types of tickets. But if this needs to be dispatched and scheduled, we have basically created an automated process where you put in the ticket information, what kind of event it is, whether it's a calendar event, a closed call, closed note, and open note, and hit submit, and that will automatically create your ticket without ever having to even go into the ticket functionality. So this right here, if you envisioned it, would basically be attached or on the bottom of the lead intake form that I just previewed for you. So I'll give you more information around this here, and it's going to have the functionality or ability to, because you'll notice in here there's no due dates or who exactly we're signing it to. This will assign to a CSR or a salesperson by default, depending on how you set this up. If you want to assign this up to 7 people and put deadlines between 1 and 30 days, all automatic off one screen, including the lead intake, I'm going to show you what that looks like as well at the end of the training. So just want to give you a sneak peek, because a lot of times I lose people's attention through the training because it's not as sexy as you may think, but it's necessary. And once you see this training, it's going to be very, very applicable. So I'm going to jump back into my slides, and then we're going to dive into some finer details